Welcome back to another video. I'm Dennis and today we are going to have a look at the new M1 iPad Pro, the top of the food chain iPad, and see if it's any good for you as a UX UI designer. Before we start, I just want to say that this is not a sponsored video and this iPad was purchased using my own money. So the feedback and review will be strictly based on my experience with this device so far. The model that we are reviewing today is the new 2021 12.9 inches M1 Wi-Fi iPad Pro with 256 gigabytes of memory and 8 gigabytes of RAM to be more precise. In terms of accessories, we have the paper-like screen protector, the new 2nd gen Apple Pen, and the Logitech keyboard combo touch, bringing the total value of this investment to a whopping £1,500. So is this worth it? To be honest, initially, when I made this investment, I was a bit reluctant, as I couldn't see the value of having an iPad when the main softwares that I use on a daily basis are not natively supported on the iPad. Thus, I thought that this would be a complete waste of money and that after 14 days I will probably bring it back to Apple. But boy, was I wrong. First of all, let's talk about how this device looks and feels. This thing is amazing. From the smooth edges to the perfect finished surface, this iPad feels and looks like a piece of jewelry. So good in fact that until I received the screen protector and the case a few days after purchasing the iPad, I was afraid to even put pressure when I was drawing with my Apple Pencil on the screen. But this allowed me to experience the iPad with and without the accessories, so that I can understand and test the user experience for both worlds. Okay, so how does the iPad feel without any accessories? Well, the iPad itself is quite light for its size, but unfortunately quite slippery as well. So I can see a lot of scenarios where this thing will just crash on the floor and reduce its value to basically zero. But let's say you're an expert in handling slippery objects. Then you have another problem, which is the camera on the back. Although this does not make your iPad feel like a small boat every single time you touch its corners, unlike other Apple products, it will, however, test the camera lenses, as every time you lay down your iPad, you will need to be careful when picking it up not to scratch your camera lenses. But the issue is that that's pretty much the only way you can use it, as holding this in your hand all the time is not easy, coming at around 643 grams. Although light compared to a laptop, it's pretty heavy to hold on for long hours, especially if you enjoy a Netflix movie while lying down in bed. But if you want to get some biceps and triceps workout while watching your favorite movies, then look no further, as this is the perfect tool for the job. So if you buy an iPad, we established that you need at least a case of some sort to make your life easier. But what about usability and user experience without the pen? Well, it's kind of what you will expect without a pen and just a case. It pretty much feels like a huge iPhone with fewer functionalities, thus making your investment a bit useless for you as a designer. At this point, if your budget is tight and you really cannot afford to buy the pen as well, my recommendation is to just get a MacBook Air or a refurbished MacBook Pro, as you will be way better off with those. So what happens if you buy the pen? Well, then you start unleashing some of the tablet's powers. Now you have access to apps like Photoshop to edit your photos, Autodesk Sketch or Fresco to start sketching out your ideas, Vectorize to start creating vectorized icon and illustration for your design projects, GoodNotes or Notability to take notes or draw wireframes and sitemaps, and so on. To be honest, I'm quite shocked that Apple even sells this iPad without this pen. If this device is intended for me as a professional designer, this white stick should be included in the box, as this is the main key to unleash the true potential of this device. Without this, it's just like having a Ferrari in your garage without the keys. Although it's very nice to look at, you cannot use it if you cannot start the engine. So we established that once we get the pen, we can start sketching and taking some notes, meaning that we can start drawing some wireframes, taking some notes during user testing. Use apps like Google Sheets and other Google services to analyze our data, view our Hotjar recordings, look around Google Analytics, check out our chat on Slack or other messaging apps, and even draw a few UI illustration or icons if we feel like it. Thus, in my opinion, making this device perfect for those designers who are more UX focused and their day-to-day task does not involve any UI work. Although not mandatory but very useful, I will add that a Bluetooth keyboard of some sort that is compatible with the iPad will greatly help you to be more efficient. But what if your daily task or job requires you to create some UI assets and even a bit of front-end code? Then the true investment you will need to make will have to include that keyboard as well. So based on what we established till now, what would you be able to do with an iPad that has all the accessories? Besides the benefits and the software mentioned previously, you will be able to use the following two extra softwares as a UX UI designer, which is Figma and Webflow. Unfortunately, at the moment of filming this video, these two apps are the only ones that will allow you to do some UI work. And even these are not perfect and optimized, as I will explain now. The first software you can use to create your UI designs is Figma. Figma does provide a pretty good user experience when it comes to usability on the iPad. Yes, there are some new behaviors that you will need to get used to, like for example zooming in and out of your frame/canvas, as the mouse or touchpad will not work. So you will be forced to utilize the touchscreen to zoom in and out or navigate through your designs. But it does provide a new experience, and that is that it allows you to use your pen directly on the app and use the stencil or pen tool to draw directly in your frames or canvas. But fortunately, there is a way around all of these issues. And it's with this app I found that will allow you to run Figma on your iPad as a native application. The app is called Figurative and it's free. What this app does is fix all these usability issues caused by the touchscreen. So if you're interested, I will leave the link in the description below. So overall, not perfect. If we use this workaround, I will say that running and using Figma on a day-to-day basis on the iPad is not such a bad user experience, and it's perfectly doable, especially if you use an external monitor. And for our last app that I tested is Webflow. I was surprised that the app even works on the new iPad, and it has most of its functionalities. You can use it at almost its full potential, except one minor thing. Same as the issue with Figma, because you have a touchscreen, there is a problem with the scroll. And unfortunately, the left and the right menu cannot be scrolled, so you will need to constantly open and close the drop-down menus to have access to all those options. So for this reason, using Webflow on the iPad can be quite tricky and does not provide such a good user experience. Even when connecting your tablet to an external monitor, it's still not the same as using a MacBook or a laptop. And unlike Figma, unfortunately, I couldn't find any workaround with this issue. And for this reason, if your day-to-day task requires you to work mostly in Webflow, I will suggest you to postpone your iPad purchase until we will see how these apps will evolve. Although as a personal opinion, I think this industry will move towards this kind of setup in the future, using both touchscreen and keyboard and mouse capabilities. But only time will tell if I'm right or wrong. This being said, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please don't forget to leave them down in the comments below. And as always, if you like the video, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. So take care. Just got a delivery. See you in the next video.